Hey, welcome back to Rookie Roost. As I alluded to in the last video, this past week has been a bit of a special one. I didn't film a whole lot this week because I've been spending as much time as I can outdoors because summer is finally in full swing. I mean, it's not actually summer until like June 21st, but close enough. But like I said, even though I didn't film much this week, it was still a very special one. So stick around, and I'll fill you in on why. So if you're new here, I'm Sean, and this series just follows the day-to-day build and life within an unfinished tiny house on wheels. Normally I film these intros before I start working for the week, so I don't really know what I'm going to be doing, but I kind of give my best guess. This time I've unintentionally left the intro until last, because I was kind of working sporadically and not really planning things out all that well this week. So we'll jump around a little bit. I did some electrical work. So when we were wiring up these outlets, we just simply dropped loops to come back and cut later. Then I realized we didn't need to do that, so this is the only place in the whole house where that was done, but now is later, and I'm gonna cut these out. So now it just becomes a regular run. This wire comes in and gives power to this box, and then this wire carries on from that box to the next one. So I've mostly been using these little clips with just the 2 nails. I find them a lot easier to work with than the big honkin' metal staples that you can use as well. These are kind of nice because, well, these ones in particular you can put 2 cables in, which is handy in some places, but you definitely need to try harder to drive these in. I've mostly been using them where it's just really easy to hack away at stuff. So a lot of the general wiring stuff I've learned from Tiny Nest and Life Inside a Box. Both of them are electricians, so I very much trust their methods. And so the way Jake from Tiny Nest was doing it is he puts a clip pretty close to the box and then puts a bit of a loop in the cable so that if you ever need to pull a bit more through, you've got that little extra in the wall. Which makes sense to me. So then I use these little particular pliers to cut off the outer jacket before sticking it in the box. I found it a lot easier to do it before putting it in the box. I've tried it the other way and yeah, it's kind of a pain. And then before putting it in, I kind of twist them together just a little bit, because then it's more of a 1 unit sort of push through this sort of foamy vapor barrier stuff here. It just goes in easier. And then I stick it in just until I can see a bit of the jacket poking through into the box. And then I'm just tucking the cords out of the way. Because right now I'm just cleaning up the wires, and later I'll come back and actually deal with what's in the box.
Oh, what's in the box?
There's one. I have done all the ones in the bathroom so far and all of the ones in the storage loft, but I still have quite a few to do. So I'll be getting some close-ups on some later ones because eventually I will resume the build series where I actually show in detail how to do things, or at least how I did them. But for the purposes of these vlogs, I'm not going into crazy details. We're just gonna time-lapse our way through the rest of this. There was a lot of it to get through, but I'm sure I'll get quite a bit more of it done this week. But the biggest change that happened in the past week is the rest of the ceiling got finished. So we're jumping around a little bit again today, but I'm taking advantage of the fact that I'm gonna have 2 friends here today, Jackie and my friend Dan, and so hopefully I'm gonna get the rest of the ceiling up. So right now I'm getting things kind of prepared. They don't have a lot of time. So I'm gonna attempt to get the vapor barrier up there on my own, at least get it tacked up on one side, so that when they do get here, I can quickly acousto-seal the joists, and they can hold it up while I go around and staple it on. So this is the 3rd and final piece of vapor barrier that's gonna go on the ceiling. So it's gonna be the biggest one, but I think it should be pretty easy to do. The second piece was pretty easy to get up. The first we learned a lot on, so we should be masters by now. I am doing it on my own, so it might be a little bit more challenging. Even just measuring it out is a little bit more challenging. Need 92 inches. 44. Oh. Don't lose it. 92, and I'll give myself some extra. So all I'm gonna do to start is just staple it up on the edge there and then let it just kind of hang down. It's nicer to get it started that way because once you start acousto-sealing, you don't want to be messing around with too much. Like I've said before, that black stuff will ruin your day. So that's kind of awkward, and I have to get under it. It gets hot in here really quick. Okay, so if you've watched some of the build series, I think I mentioned somewhere in there how we put staples into tie wire, and the tie wire is here to hold up the insulation. That turned out to be a really good idea because of how much time passed and the fact that the house moved twice and the insulation did start to sag out. The tie wire definitely held it in some spots. But the staples aren't driven all the way down, so I'm gonna go around and hammer them all in flat because the tie wire is just staying up there.
Oh.
Hey.
Hello.
Oh, hi. Brought a bit of beef jerky. I don't know if there's vegans in the
Beef jerky, sweet. I can live for another week.
Yes.
I brought him a cookie too, so he's good.
Cool.
Camera's rolling, so just don't step in front of you. Not that he can see me.
Yeah, it can.
It was, of course, not without struggle. It was quite a difficult task, even for 3 people. But I am very appreciative of that help that I had that day. Thank you two very much. I honestly don't see how I could have done it without another couple pair of hands. So I still have the ceiling that goes on underneath the loft here, but I've got the blocks in place to screw that ceiling in. And as soon as I do that, I'll be able to actually wire up those lights and start using those lights instead of my temporary shop lights. Okay, so that's all fine and dandy, but why was this week special? This week was special because I essentially moved in. It's a little dark up here in the loft, still have to work on getting some lights rigged up. I do have one light sitting in the back though. There we go. It is behind a lot of stuff, so it's still kind of dark up here. Not hitting my head on insulation is fantastic. We really should have put that ceiling in a long time ago. But I wasn't sure if I was ready for it. I mean, there could have been something I had to do, take the insulation out, put something else up there. But the task is done now, and I'm glad it's done. So up here now, I've got a couple beanbag chairs for lounging around in. Easily able to sit in them and plenty of clearance above my head. Now this isn't going to be an area where you hang out permanently. I mean, I'm not going to keep this entertainment setup up here, but for now while the house is being built and I'm working down below, this is perfect. I've got the fridge down in the bathroom area right now. It's holding a bunch of frozen pizzas and a few loaves of bread and fresh fruits and vegetables, of course, gotta stay healthy. And I've got the little toaster oven that's going to be eventually inside the house, out in the warehouse where I can cook things up. It's nice to have a warm meal now and then. And I picked up these foam carpet squares, which have been coming quite in handy. They sort of stick together like puzzle pieces. They've definitely saved my knees a few times. They make it a little more comfortable up here. Plywood's not the most comforting material to be lying on. You can notice that it's a bit warm up in the loft though. I think if I just had a little fan though and kind of put it in front of the window, maybe even blowing out, I think I'd get enough circulation in here to make it comfortable. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like or a dislike. You can subscribe if you're new here. And the next episode will be right down there once it's ready. If you're new here and want to watch the whole journey from the beginning, right down there. I think I'm pointing the right directions here. And this video is probably just something random. I don't know what's up in that corner. Once again, I'm Sean, this is Rookie Roost, and I will see you next time.